Jeff Bridges stars in our movie Fearless in 10 minutes after the late headlines from Central News.
Hello, good evening. 3 deaths on busy roads have brought fresh warnings tonight of the dangers of stopping after breakdowns. In one accident, a mother and child were killed on the hard shoulder of a motorway.
This was the scene on the M5 near Stroud in October 1998, after a mother and her son were killed on the hard shoulder. Yasmin Salam, who was 32, had climbed out of a Toyota Land Cruiser with her son Kamaran after he felt sick. An inquest in Gloucester was told they died when 65-year-old Dorothy Lloyd swerved off the motorway onto the verge in her Fiat and hit them. Lorry driver Gary Biles from Blakeney in the Forest of Dean died 3 months ago on the Brockworth bypass outside Gloucester. He'd stopped to tighten straps on his load when he was hit by another truck. Police gave evidence to the inquest that Mr. Biles was wearing dark clothing and had left his fluorescent jacket in the cab. The driver of the lorry that killed Mr. Biles was Lionel Pountney. He told police at the scene, "I just didn't see him." After the hearing, a police road safety officer warned of the dangers of stopping on busy main roads.
The hazards are very great indeed, due to passing vehicles that might not be able to react in time, or even debris thrown up or indeed thrown off the vehicles, which can cause a hazard to any person that's parked on the side of the road.
Police say vehicles should only park on the hard shoulder in a dire emergency.
60 firefighters have been fighting a major fire at a warehouse in Aylesbury. The fire broke out at Pine Direct in Chamberlain Road at 7 o'clock this evening. The blaze is now under control, but there are still 8 fire pumps at the scene. The cause is thought to be suspicious and an investigation is underway. Nobody has been injured. A bus company faces being fined and banned from some routes after a public inquiry heard its services were frequently late and sometimes cancelled. Stagecoach blamed the problems on traffic congestion and staff shortages.
Stagecoach, one of the 2 main bus operators in Oxford, was called to account by the Traffic Commissioner following a large number of complaints from passengers. Bus monitors employed by the Crown found on the X33 Abingdon to Oxford route 2 out of 3 buses didn't run. On the X39 route from Oxford to Heathrow via Wallingford, a large number of buses ran late. Stagecoach said traffic congestion was a problem and admitted deliberately cancelling buses on the X33 route because it couldn't recruit enough drivers.
We have had a chronic shortage of staff, which is continuing, but which we are addressing quite vigorously. And the second reason is down to the sheer volume of traffic congestion experienced on one of the routes in question, which was the X39 between Oxford and Heathrow.
Traffic Commissioner Christopher Heaps reserved judgment, saying he was minded to fine Stagecoach and stop the company operating the X39 route in future. He'd also want no additional services on the 105 route from Oxford to Wallingford, thus scuppering Stagecoach plans to run the alternative route. Whatever happens to Stagecoach could largely be determined by a test case involving a bus company in Scotland. It's appealed against a fine imposed by a local traffic commissioner. So a full judgment here isn't expected until September.
An ambulance service has been severely criticised for not moving quickly enough to improve computer services threatened by the Millennium Bug. It's been given until September to sort itself out.
More than 100 calls a day are taken at the Ambulance Services Control Centre at the Churchill Hospital in Oxford. Many people take the service for granted and expect it to work efficiently. But now it's claimed serious problems could be experienced because of the so-called Millennium Bug.
It is totally unacceptable for members of the public to have a situation which in Oxfordshire we are only one of 4 of 477 NHS organisations which hasn't even yet made the preparations.
The NHS executive also says the Trust has made unsatisfactory progress in tackling the Millennium Bug. It's been given until the end of September to make equipment and systems Millennium compliant or have a contingency plan in place. But the Oxfordshire Ambulance NHS Trust says this has already been done. It even has its own generator outside the headquarters in case electricity fails come the year 2000. The chief executive says the problem was that they failed to let their watchdog, the Audit Commission, know what they'd done.
As far as any reasonable person can say, lives will not be put at risk any more then than they are now.
In the meantime, work continues as usual. But even these employees are certain that this new year will be the busiest they've ever known.
A baby born 3 months premature and weighing just 1 pound has beaten the odds and is now back at home with her parents. In just a few short weeks, Megan Lombard needed operations to her heart, her eyes and foot.
The miracle baby. Born prematurely at 24 weeks, little Megan was given just a 1 in 10 chance of survival. But she's now 9 months old, and for her mother Anne from Cheltenham, it's a wonderful surprise. She didn't expect her to pull through.
She just weighed this bag of sugar here, a pound she weighed, and she came up to there on my arm, and it's just amazing how anyone so small could survive. She's a little miracle, I think.
Anne had been taken to hospital early after a checkup showed her blood pressure was dangerously high. And Megan was born weighing about 1/7 the weight of a normal baby.
I was very frightened to get close to her at first because I didn't think she'd survive, and I thought, how can anyone that small survive? She was so tiny.
And to add to her problems, Megan's heart stopped when she was just 10 days old. Doctors spent half an hour bringing her back to life. She also had to have an operation on her eye, and poor circulation meant she lost the toes on her right foot.
For the first 2 to 3 months, they were the dark days. They really were. And slowly things progressed and her health picked up and she started beating all the odds.
For Megan's parents, their £1 baby is now $1 million. And although still on medication, she's back home and getting bigger every day. And brother Stephen is enjoying having his special sister around.
There we are, that's all the news for now. We're back again tomorrow. The weather is next. Bye-bye.
Central Weather, sponsored by Stay Bright Windows and Conservatories. The clear choice in any weather.
Hello again. Well, it'll turn out very warm this week. Breezes today were easterly and therefore slightly on the cool side, but they'll be turning to become quite hot during the next couple of days or so. The forecast for office dwellers then over the next 24 or 48 hours will be very hot and sticky, so shirt sleeve order and keep your distance. Continuing dry and mostly clear overnight tonight, just some cloud drifting back in again off the North Sea, so feeling milder in the east under any cloud cover. Dry and fine tomorrow morning too, sunnier in the west but cloudier to the east and northeast if anywhere, and feeling very warm and humid into the afternoon. Tops around 27 Celsius, that's 81 Fahrenheit, but again cooler towards the east. Friday too, plenty of rays to go around, so watch how you go in the tanning stakes if you're out and about. Very hot, very humid, winds turning southeasterly, plenty of sun for Friday evening after work drinkies. Bye-bye.
The Central 7-Day Weather Line, 09064 710 711.